Which is better, the Samsung Galaxy A15 5G or the Samsung Galaxy A14 5G? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison of the Samsung Galaxy A15 5G versus the Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. So a lot's changed going from one generation to another, going from 1 year to the next year, and I'm looking forward to showing you all the various improvements that we're getting here with the A15 5G here in this video. Now, the first thing I want to discuss is pricing and availability. Both of these phones are being offered all around the world, so based on the region that you're in, the various promotions that are available could be different. I know, for example, in the US, you can buy either of these phones factory unlocked, or you can get them through carriers, and if you go the carrier route, you can tend to save quite a bit of money. But then the only catch is that you have to use the phone with that carrier, at least for a certain amount of time. So I definitely recommend, though, looking and seeing what carrier deals are available, and then also seeing what these phones currently are being offered for factory unlocked, to hopefully make that decision a bit easier for you. But I will be leaving links to both of these devices in the description. Now, the first major difference between the Galaxy A15 5G and the Galaxy A14 5G definitely has to be the displays. So the first difference with the displays is the literal display size. Now, with the Galaxy A15 5G, we're actually getting a slightly smaller display at 6.5 inches compared to 6.6 inches with the A14 5G. So the smaller display size this time around definitely is a little bit disappointing. However, this time around with the A15 5G, we're getting way better display technology. So with this device, we're getting a Super AMOLED display compared to PLS LCD display technology with the A14 5G. So with Super AMOLED, we're getting way bolder colors here. Everything looks a lot crisper and clearer. It's also a lot brighter too. And then viewing angles are also way better with Super AMOLED compared to PLS LCD. So in pretty much every way, we are getting a better looking display here with the Galaxy A15 5G. And Super AMOLED seriously does make such a big difference, whether you're watching video content or looking at photos on social media. All of that is going to be a way better experience with this better display technology. So this in itself, I feel like, is a reason to buy the A15 5G over the A14 5G. But in addition to that, there are many other improvements this time around. Now, with both these devices, we are getting 1080p displays, which is excellent. But with the Galaxy A15 5G, we're getting a 19.5:9 aspect ratio compared to a 20:9 aspect ratio with the A14 5G. Now overall, I do prefer 20:9 over 19.5:9, but in reality, it's not a dramatic difference going from one device to another. Now the screen to body ratios are different here with an 84.3% screen to body ratio with the A15 compared to a 20.2% screen to body ratio with the A14. Now both of these devices do feature water drop notches up top. However, with the A15 5G, it's a little bit less streamlined. And then both of these devices do feature 13 megapixel front-facing cameras. And then taking a look at the bottom bezels in the two phones, they're both pretty thick, but it is a little bit thinner on the A15 5G. Now with the Galaxy A15 5G, we're getting 128 gigabytes of storage compared to 64 gigabytes of storage with the A14 5G. So basically going from one generation to the next, we're getting double the amount of internal storage. So that's certainly very helpful, and in addition to that, both of these devices do support microSD card expansion. So if you do want to offload photos and videos, for example, from the internal space to the SD card, then you can at least free up some of that internal storage. Now, neither of these two devices feature wireless charging, which is a bit disappointing, but both phones do feature side-mounted fingerprint sensors. So let's give that a try right now. So we'll try it first here with the Galaxy A15 5G. And as you can see, it's very fast and responsive. Let's try that one more time. And as you can see, it's pretty much near instant there. And then we'll give it a try here with the Galaxy A14 5G. And you can see it's very fast there too. So both phones have really good fingerprint sensors. And in addition to that, with both of these phones, we are getting face unlock as well. So I appreciate that there's multiple methods for getting into the devices. Now taking a look at the cameras in the back of these two phones, both devices do feature triple camera setups. But there is one major improvement with the A15 5G. Now with both of these phones, we are getting 50 megapixel main cameras, but then with the A15 5G, we're getting a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and we're getting a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. But then with the A14 5G, the second camera is a depth sensing camera, and then the third camera is a 2 megapixel macro camera. So basically with the A15 5G, we're still retaining portrait mode, but instead of having us have that dedicated depth sensing camera, it basically does portrait mode without it. And instead, we're actually getting that ultra-wide camera here with the device, which genuinely is a very useful feature, and something that I do like to use with any device that does have an ultra-wide camera. But here's how things look on the camera app on the two phones. This is with the main rear camera right now. Now then from here, with the A15 5G, I have this option, which is 0.5, and by going there, we basically get an ultra-wide camera. But then with the A14 5G, that feature is simply not present here. Now with both phones, we can go over to the More tab and access the macro cameras. And with the macro cameras, you can get very close up and have things be in really good detail. We can then exit out of there and go over to portrait mode, so we can get those nice blurred out backgrounds. We can also flip around to the front-facing cameras and take portrait selfies, which is pretty cool. And there's even an option here for a group selfie, so things crop out a little bit. And then if you want to, you can take standard selfies as well. And then with both of these phones, video recording unfortunately does max out at just 1080p with both the front and rear cameras, so keep that in mind. But I am very excited that this time around with the Galaxy A15 5G, we do at least have that ultra-wide camera on the back of the phone. Now moving on to RAM and processors, if you're buying the Galaxy A15 5G in the US, you are going to be getting 4GB of RAM. However, in other regions, the phone does come with other amounts of RAM. And then with the A14 5G, this phone is offered in 4GB. And then as far as the processors go, both phones feature processors compatible with 5G, hence the names of these devices. But with the Samsung Galaxy A15 5G, we're getting the MediaTek Dimensity 6100 Plus processor compared to the Samsung Exynos 1330 processor on the A14 5G. Now from my experience of using these two phones, I do feel like we are getting a better processor with the A15 5G. It just seems to run a bit smoother in comparison. The phone boots faster as well, which I do find to be interesting. And I did run benchmark tests for these two phones using Geekbench 6, and I got a single core score of 697 with the A15 5G, compared to a slightly lower score of 677 with the A14 5G. And then you can see the multi-core scores right here, where the A15 5G is definitely the better phone of the two. Now overall though, these aren't really that different of scores. It's not like going from one generation is a big difference from the other generation, but without a doubt, the A15 5G is the faster phone of the two. And then with both of these devices, we are getting 5,000 mAh internal batteries, which is excellent. However, with the A15 5G, we're getting 25 watt fast charging compared to 15 watt fast charging with the A14 5G. So having that gain from 15 watts to 25 watts is a very nice improvement, and certainly can come in handy when you want to recharge that massive 5,000 mAh battery. Basically, the faster you can charge it, the less time you're going to have to waste waiting for the phone to recharge. And then both of these phones currently are running Android 14. The Galaxy A14 5G has gotten that update, so both phones are updated to the latest and greatest versions of Android and also to the latest and greatest versions of Samsung's One UI 6. And then both of these phones do feature NFC, so if you do like to use your devices for tap and pay, you can do that here. Now taking a closer look at the hardware of these two phones, going from the A14 to the A15, things are a little bit boxier this time around, but both phones are made completely out of plastic. We are getting kind of matte finishes in the back of both devices here, but the finishes are also different at the same time. We're getting kind of a gradient look to the A15 5G compared to the A14 5G, which has kind of these grooves on the back. So I actually do prefer how things are with the A15 5G, but overall I'd recommend pairing up either of these two phones with a case, especially considering that plastic is prone to scratch up a lot easier compared to other materials. But taking a look at the left side of both devices, we have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Then on the right side, we have volume up, volume down, and then the power buttons right here, which doubles the fingerprint sensors. Then up top, we have the noise canceling microphones. And then on the bottom of the two devices, we have the 3.5mm headphone jacks. We have the microphone USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speakers. And then on the back of the two phones, we have a almost identical camera setup here as far as the appearance of them goes, with the triple cameras, we have the flash, and then Samsung logos, and that's pretty much it. But this concludes my comparison of the Samsung Galaxy A15 5G versus the Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, definitely give it a thumbs up. But this is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.